What's up, guys? Alex Keeson here. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Enjoy the morning. Enjoy the day. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one. I'm sure it's going to be full of challenges as well as successes and rewards. And it's definitely a great start of the week. Hopefully you had a great Monday. I certainly did. So it was definitely full of challenges. It was definitely full of excitement. So I just wanted to wish you the same, and really just making sure that you stay energized, stay motivated, and focused on your goals this week and of course moving forward. But today I wanted to bring up a topic of something that you've heard in my podcast, something you've heard or seen in my blog posts, and that is I often say a leader never stops learning, or never stop learning, or some of that in that context. But essentially, never stop learning is the key here. But what does that really mean to you? What does never stop learning mean to you? And it's not just I'm not saying that about school necessarily in the formal education. I'm talking about self-education more than anything. And this is typically how it starts. Self-education can start at any point in your life. It could start before you join the school. It could start while you're in school, and definitely should start. And that's not an option. It should start after school, and continue for the rest of your life. But what does that really mean? And that's really something that I want to touch on today, because I feel like we as people, we miss a great opportunity. We miss an opportunity to grow and develop ourselves. And then we're sitting and wondering, why am I not moving forward? Why am I missing all these opportunities? Why good things are not happening to me? Why I'm not living the life that I want to live? Why I don't have the things that I want to have, or being able to buy the things that I want to buy? Why am I not happy with what I do? That typically happens when you find yourself in the position where there's not enough, or there's no self-education. And that's something that you need to change. That's something you definitely need to reconsider if you are asking yourself those questions. And even if you're not, that's something, even if you're really happy and successful in life, and you have a ton of wealth, and whatever the case may be, you just can't think of anything else, self-education is still a must. It's something that you need to look into. And that's great leaders always continue to learn, regardless where they are in life. That's continue reading, that's continue to listen to great content. So how do you start with self-education? How do you start with that continuous learning process? And it's many people would say, well, it's difficult, or I don't have time, or I don't have money, or it's not a right time right now. I'll start it later. And all it is just a fear of starting. It's a fear of unknown, and not knowing exactly what's going to happen, and not knowing where do you find the resources. And that's totally fine. We all have been there. We've all been actually asking those questions. There's nothing wrong with experiencing those type of questions, experiencing fear. But the question, what the bigger question here is, what do you do about it? Or what do you do when you do ask yourself those questions, and when you are fearful of starting something new? And think about self-education. Self-education is something that you can't be afraid of starting, because it should be part of your life. It should be part of something you do every single day. And yes, self-education, you must invest and do something to develop and grow yourself every single day. So some of the simple steps that you can do to start and overcome the fear of unknown, and overcome the fear of starting something new, that's really begin, if you haven't been, which I hope you have, but if you haven't been, begin reading, begin investing every single day. Even if it's just a few minutes a day, invest in reading. And already hearing an excuse, I don't have time to read because my busy lifestyle, my work, and whatever, family. that's all an excuse. You have time. You can start reading and listening something that benefits your mind, that grows you personally as well as professionally. All you have to take is 15, 20, 30 minutes a day. If you, and I'm sure you can find that time, unless you live at work, which I don't think many people do, but you still have to commute, right? You still have to go to work. If you live on, West Coast, or, in New York or California, you spend some time in commute to work, right? If you have regular 9-to-5 job. And whenever that happens, you probably spend a good amount of time in traffic, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes more, right? So how do you use that time? You can sit there and listen to music, which absolutely adds no value to your personal growth, or you can invest that time to actually perhaps listen to some books. And yes, I'm talking about audiobooks. So it's very easy, it's very attainable, and great resources such as Audible, through Amazon, you can absolutely invest into something like that and then start reading. I've actually looked back recently and seen how many books I've read over or listened to in the last few months, and it was something upwards to like 19 to 20 books in just in the period of the last 6 or 7 months. I've learned a ton. I continue to expand my knowledge. I continue, and I'm not talking about just read leadership books. It's important to actually read all kinds of books so you can continue to expand your knowledge in many different ways. But my primary focus has been leadership and personal development, and that's what I truly enjoy. So if that's your thing, make sure you start listening to those books. Again, all it takes is just a few minutes a day. And yes, you don't have an excuse. So that's the first thing. And then that's one thing. It's like once you start, don't stop. Continue to every day. And even if you're not working, especially if you're at home, go ahead and grab a book, a regular book, and read a few pages. You don't have to finish the whole book over the weekend, but read a few pages, and then pick up later on once you have once it's another weekend and you have time to actually grab a paper book. But in between, grab listen to some audio, listen to some podcasts. There's a ton of free podcasts for you to listen to, and you can certainly begin doing that right now, today. So that's the first step. The other thing that you can do is, of course, you can invest into some courses, into some workshops, leadership workshops, conferences that you can attend. Now, that step does require a little bit more of an financial investment on your part, unless you find some free courses. But you can certainly start listening, and there's great things on YouTube. There's that's free that you can start with. There's a ton of great motivational videos that you can watch. That's absolutely free. So you can start there. And then also, if you have ability, if you have resources, the financial right now, then begin investing in some workshops. Whatever that's available, just go to it. Take notes. And I'm not talking about just listening and forget about what you've learned, what you've listened to the next day or next month. Take notes and use the information that you learn. That's the key with any training, any conference you attend. And because otherwise you are just wasting your money, and you might as well just not do that, right? So if you're paying for something, if you're going to a conference, or even if you're not paying for something, it doesn't matter. If you're attending a training, if you're listening to something, take notes, because the key here is using the information that you learn. And the other thing that you can do is asking people for input, asking people for feedback. Understanding your personal behavioral styles, and understanding how you communicate. How do you improve your communication? All those things are available, and you can ask for, find a mentor, somebody that you can bounce your ideas off, somebody you can ask and it can be honest with you and sharing their feedback, so you can learn more about yourself and continue that development process, continue asking questions, and how you get better. But what matters here is what I'm trying to drive the point across today is you can start learning today. Continuous learning never stops, and that's unfortunately, if you're not developing, if you're not in incorporating the learning and things that you learn, and if you're not investing in yourself, in your personal development every single day, then unfortunately you're missing that opportunity. And really, you shouldn't be asking yourself a question: why am I not at the point where I want to be right now? And because the answer and the response is very simple, because you're not doing anything about to change that. You're not doing anything to continue to grow and develop yourself. Learning does not stop with school. Learning only begins with school. So after you've attended school, whether it's a high school, college, university, whatever that may be in your situation, once you're done with a formal education, and you make sure you pick up your lifetime education, make sure you begin in developing and growing yourself, and invest in some self-learning and self-education. And I'm not saying that during school you shouldn't be doing that. You can start again. You can start that at any point in your life. As soon as you realize this is what I want to do in life, as soon as you know exactly what you want to go after and what you achieve, that's when the learning starts. That's when you start developing and growing. And it could be, at a very, very early age, and it could be a later life, depending on whenever you realize that I'm not where I want to be. I'm not achieving what I want to achieve. I'm not getting paid for what I want to pay. I'm not in the job where I want to be. Whatever that may be, or I don't have the lifestyle that I want. So this is where it's important to do some self-reflection and begin developing and growing yourself. So just something to keep in mind. Please, that if you hear someone, start to create excuses, start to, mentioning and creating all the excuses why they're not at the point where they are, why they're not happy where they are. Then ask yourself, or ask them a question. What are you doing to change that? So what are you doing to change and grow yourself and move from where you are currently in your present state to where you want to be? Ideally, what's your life vision? What's your goal in life? So everything is in your hands. Everything starts with you. Everything starts today, right now. Yes, you can start developing yourself today and investing in your personal and self growth and development. So this was Alex Keeson. Hopefully this was motivational. Hopefully I've added some, even if it was just a little bit of inspiration in your day and in your life in general. And I would love to hear your thoughts, opinions about this and about your self-education and ways how you can grow and develop yourself. Please share those with me. I would love to hear your points as well in the comments. And enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the week. And I will talk to you soon. This was Alex Keeson. Take care.